What is happening, y'all? Cowboy here, and welcome to my beginner guide for Monster Hunter Rise. Now, while Monster Hunter Rise is the most accessible Monster Hunter to date, there is still a lot of stuff that just comes along with being a veteran to the franchise that I don't think new players are really all that aware of when they get into it. So just a couple things up front that I want to point out. Obviously, the game does have very in-depth tutorials and whatnot with Rise. You know, we have the training missions right here. Beyond the training missions, another area that's really good is if we hop on over to the actual training area. Going over here, this is something we saw introduced in World, and you can come over here and try out weapons, and as you can see, we have combos listed on the screen, so you can try out different weapon combos. While you're in this area over here, any items you use don't get actually consumed, so you're able to, you know, get a feel for items, get a feel for ammunition in particular if you're playing with a gun. And really kind of get a feel for you know, what weapon you want to play with. But there is a lot of stuff that hasn't been tutorialized, and that is really what I want to talk about today. Basically the stuff that you learn from being a veteran of the franchise and playing through the games, and that it takes some time to pick up, usually coming into the game new. So just to kind of set expectations, this video is really going to focus on a lot of that stuff, and hopefully when it's done, you'll be set off a lot better than you were at the start. Now, one of the things that's really nice in Rise is they've updated hunting notes. So right over here, how it says, you know, access a wealth of useful information, they are not kidding. Now, right after you hunt a monster, you'll be able to look in depth at different stuff. It's physiology, so you can see its head zones and what it's weakest against. For example, looking at this, it means the head has a value of 25 against thunder, whereas the torso and the forelegs have values of 15, meaning the head is going to be the best spot to hit, followed by the tip of the tail, followed by the tail, and then the torso and the forelegs. And obviously you want to use thunder if you're going to use an element here. Your second best choice would be water, and then fire and ice are basically tied, with dragon coming in last. But so seeing those hit zones, this is usually stuff that's calculated by people data mining. This is all in the game now, which is great. Over here, we can also see the effectiveness of ailments. So we can see, you know, poison is going to be very effective here. Paralysis is going to be very effective here. Exhaust, sleep, all of those are 3 stars. And then over here in materials, we can see the exact materials and where we get them from. So for example, the Great Azuki hide. The target reward means that there's a 21% chance to get this as a reward if it is the target that you're hunting, so you're actually doing a Great Azuki hunt. If you capture it, there's a 26% chance that that will be one of your rewards. When you break a part of the monster, there's a 20% chance that you could get this. And when you carve the monster, there's a 43% chance you could get this. Now, what I want to point out here is capture rewards versus carves, because you can capture a monster sooner than you can kill it. In particular, there's a small blue skull that will appear in the top right of the screen. And when you see that icon, that is when you know that you can successfully capture a monster. But there's different odds here. So for example, if I am looking to get Great Azuki hides, I will be a lot better off killing the monster and carving it, because I have a 43% chance, whereas instead, if I'm trying to get the pelts, I have a higher chance with the capture at 39%. So anytime you're trying to farm something in game, as long as you've hunted the monster at least once, you can come on in here and you can look and you can actually see these breakdowns. Now, along with that, one of the things that's really nice now is when it comes to capturing, there are a couple things we need. We need traps and we need tranks. Now, we can actually buy our tranks from this dude. You don't have to worry about crafting them anymore, which is great. I've already loaded up. I have 170 tranks. In particular, it takes 2 trank bombs to capture a monster. And if you use the blue skull method, which I'll show that more in depth once we go out and actually do a little hunt. But using that, you only are ever going to need 2 trank bombs, and then you're going to need a trap. Now, as for our traps, we have 2 different traps. We have the pitfall trap, and then we have the shock trap. Both of these can be made using trap tools. Particularly need trap tools and nets for the pitfall, and trap tool and thunderbugs for the shock trap. So we're going to want to be getting these materials out in the world as we find them. Obviously, every now and again, this guy might do a sale and you might be able to actually just buy some outright. But otherwise, get trank bombs and get trap tools so that you can capture a monster if needed. Now, talking about those materials, there are a couple different ways that you can get them. And one of the biggest ones is going to be the subsystem. Now, if you're somebody that played Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, you may be familiar with the farm. The farm has been replaced by the submarines, which we can see over here. So this will unlock as you play more. One of them, you unlock one sub from doing a mission, the third sub is from another mission. But the way these work is we're going to go to order items, trade request. We'll cancel this one just to show how it goes through. I'm going to go to ready, pick whether you want a palico or a palamute to go out on the trip. I usually use gathering type palicos. And then you can select what you want. So null berries, these are universally good because they remove blights. Might Seed and Adamant Seed, it's good to constantly pull these in because late game we're going to be using these to get attack and defense buffs on harder hunts. Beyond that, some other things that are really good to get. God bugs are great for making high-end potions and whatnot. Thunder bugs are great to have access to for those shock traps. Honey is great because it's how you're going to make mega potions. Just combining honey and potions gets you the higher end potions. But you can see we have spiderweb here. We have all the different toadstools if you're trying to make something from there. We have herbs if you're trying to make certain things like flaming ammo or explosives. But the point is you can get all this stuff, you know, instead of, you don't have to run around in the field and hunt down to get thunderbugs indefinitely. You can come here, you can select thunderbugs, take confirm. We'll go over here and we'll do a casual bargain and we'll confirm. And now as I hunt, they are just going to slowly build up a collection of thunderbugs, and every now and again you'll get something else. But just doing this, you know, if I go out and I do 5 or 10 different hunts, I'm going to come back and probably have 20 thunderbugs waiting for me, 20 traps worth. And considering you only need 1 trap to capture something, you're all set. Along with that note, another thing I want to touch on over here is the Meowcenaries. Now the way the Meowcenaries work is you basically send out these little cats on missions and they are going to collect items for you. So I have them out in mission right now. These 2 areas they've already collected. So you can see if I go here to take items, getting a bunch of different things, and they're going to go after that monster, the fish, and that monster. But what's great here is you send them out and they're going to go after whatever you see in those icons. And every now and again they might get you some materials that are useful. So for example, if you need some whiskers from the Gaiju fish, look for the Gaiju, that 4th icon right there, to send them on out to hunt that. So kind of along with using our subs to get various items in the world, using the Meowcenaries is useful because we're going to be able to send out our cats and have them just collect some spare monster mats for us. Now on the note of cats and dogs, let's talk about the buddy handler, and in particular I want to talk about scouting and hiring. Now, at the start of the game, you obviously make a custom dog and a custom cat, but we can get more than that by using the scout system. So if I were to go to scout and palico, you can see I can change all this stuff. I can basically recreate my cat. But the most important thing here I want to point out is selecting the, where's that? Right here, the support type. So there are a couple different support types for your cat. Bombardier, fight, assist, healer, etc. Personally, I think gathering is one of the best ones to get, especially early on, because it's going to pay off once you get to the end of low rank and get into high rank. Gathering is super useful. Beyond that, I think assist is also super nice. It'll put out traps, lock monsters down to make things easier. But in particular, if I go to hire, that's a better idea to show. Over here, this move, this is what we want access to, Pilfer. Pilfer will let your little cat throw out a boomerang to hit the monster and pull raw materials from that monster to make it even easier to craft your armor, your weapons, all that stuff. So because of that, I'm a big fan of Gatherer, especially early on when you're still trying to farm. And then after I get all that done, I'll typically go to something like Assist just to have trap support. But you can see all the different stuff they have, and Pilfer is the big thing we're working towards. You can also get ones like this. Like this guy's actually really good. I'm going to hire him right now. Just to kind of talk about why. Base Vitality, this will heal ailments as well as heal me. He's got a shock trap, which is great because that'll actually stop the monster full on, and then Pilfer. So really nice support there. We'll go ahead and hire him, just pull him on in. But basically, as you hire up these cats and whatnot, you know, keep an eye out for the particular skills that you want from them, because some things are going to be nicer compared to others. Like here's another good example. Instead of doing a shock trap, this is going to do Thunder Blight, which Thunder Blight, if you manage to do enough physical damage to the monster's face, you'll knock it down and get a hard stun. So in some cases, this is arguably better than an actual shock trap. Something like this, you know, this is not actually, I'm going to get this guy too while he's here. Power Jump's nice to get too, just attack and defense boost. But anyway, so the point is you can look through those skills and you can look and kind of decide what skills you like the most and what you really think you're going to benefit from. Now beyond that, we also have actual skills, not just abilities, but skills that we can put onto our buddies. So over here at the buddy board, and I feel like a lot of people are probably going to look this over, especially even veterans here, but one big thing is our actual buddy skills. So as they level up, they are going to have actual skills that are unlocked, and you need to go over and you need to actually equip these, because it'll look like this by default. None of those skills are on, but it has a certain amount of memory. So I could give my buddy a small bit of critical up, I could give him some defense up, and then you know, we'll give him negate stun. And now he has those skills equipped. So Meowmers can't be stunned anymore. He has a little defense boost, he has a little crit up boost. But you actually need to go on and you need to manually go in and equip these things, otherwise they won't be active. The same also applies to your dog. You got to go in and actually equip the dog's abilities. On that note over here, make sure to switch up the actual gear. For example, right here, there's a lot you can do. You know, this is going to be more attack oriented. This is going to make your dog a little bit of a tank, you know, just kind of lock stuff down. Something like, actually just unlock this. Detach from its wearer and chomp on autopilot. Attack the bitten spot to deal more damage. That's interesting. I'll put that on to try it out. But you know, you have stuff like that over here. You have you know, giant shuriken. We have this thing that we just unlocked. There's all kinds of different stuff that you can put on your doggo that you won't even see unless you actually go in here and look at the items on there. You can also modify the behavior. So for example, right now on my dog, I have him do a pincer attack, which works really well, because if I'm sitting there attacking the tail of the monster, he'll stay at the front of it, distracting the monster, and making it easier for me to focus the tail if I'm trying to get a tail cut. So there's a lot of stuff that's kind of just deep hitting in these menus that you kind of have to dig and find. Now back to some more beginner tips. Anytime you see a speech bubble, go ahead and talk to that person. That means that person either has a reward for you or they have some quest. This one looks like we got a new weapon design, Rice Bane, some crazy rice charge blade, but the point is bubbles are good. In addition, one good way that you can see one over there, but one good way you can check for bubbles anytime is if you go over here. If Move Around Village has an exclamation point, you can see exactly where it's going to be. So I can say, oh, there's someone at the steelworks, and I can travel over, oh, there's the guy. I mean, we knew he was right there, but obviously the point is you can see where this stuff is, and you know, make sure you get that done, because there's a lot of stuff that you'll miss out on by not talking to people. So anytime you come back from a mission, if it says somebody in the hub is looking for you, look around and try to talk to them. In particular, one of the two biggest I want to point out is right here, Yomogi the chef, because that's going to get you new cooking ingredients, which are super useful. And over here, talking to Master Utsushi, this is how you unlock the switch skills for your various weapons by doing different quests and whatnot. So those are the alternative movesets and abilities that your weapons can have access to. So those are really important. Back over here though, talking about Dango, so doing her quest is super useful, especially if you're a new player. You're going to go into a mission and you're going to feel like your health is really low, and if that's the case, it's because you need to eat some Dango. Now the way the bunny Dango works is you basically pick what you want here. You pick a couple. So one of the ones I like to do at the start is I go, you know, Wealth Maker. I usually go Sharp to speed up sharpening, and then Medicinal. And this is just a pretty much just a basic all around. You know, it's going to help get me money. It's to make my sharpening go a little bit faster, and I might heal a little bit more. So very simple set, and there are all kinds of different Dangos. But the biggest thing, as you can see, status increased, health 40, stamina 40. And that is a huge bonus to our stamina right there. So just to kind of show how significant that is, we're actually going to jump off, we're going to jump into an expedition here, and I'll be able to actually show you a couple things while we're out on this mission as well that I wanted to cover. But I cannot stress enough how important it is to eat before hunts. Not enough people do that, and that's one of the biggest complaints I see from new players. Is you jump into the game and you're like, I don't know how I'm supposed to do this. I only have like half my health bar. I don't know how to get the rest of it full. And it's usually because they're not eating before hunts, and it's very important, because now that we're in the mission, as you can see, my health bar is way bigger. Now you'll notice that it's not completely full. Neither is the stamina, and that has to do with our pedal ace. So just to go in here real fast and talk about that. So your petal ace is going to dictate just how high certain things can get. Right now I have on demon, which means that I can collect 5 attack bugs. Each attack bug is going to give me 2 attack for a total of 10 attack up. With something like the strength petal ace, instead I could only get 3 attack bugs, but I could get my health all the way up to 50. And that is the missing health right there. The missing health is the extra 25 that I would get, and I would get that from running around and picking up those perma buffers that they talk about in the world. But now let's talk about a couple of mobility things, and these are things that, you know, they come along as you spend more time in the game playing, but they're also really good that I think I wanna share these with y'all. So obviously when we're running on the dog, we can tap the right trigger to jump. But if you were trying to get lots of height, you can jump and then press B to jump off of the dog. So jump, jump, and then if you want, you can obviously go for a wirebug after that to get even more height. So this is great for, like, if I'm trying to get all the way up to the top, we can get all the way up. Another thing I see a lot of people mess with is climbing. When it comes to climbing, a lot of people do this and they fall off and they can't figure out why. You need to hold sprint, which is either going to be pushing in the left stick or holding the right trigger down, all depending on what your control scheme is. But I like doing the right trigger because it's easy. I just basically left trigger, right trigger, or excuse me, ZLZR to wirebug, and then I just hold down R. And as you can see, my stamina will drain, but I'll just run on up. And anything that is a semi-flat face, pretty much you can run up. If something is like vertical, you know, if you're trying to run inverted, it's probably not going to work too well. But with a little bit of practice, you can actually get really, really high up. You know, so I would highly recommend, like, the first time you play the game, just, you know, taking some time and really practicing with this. Really aim to get a mastery of the wirebug system. Now in particular, the game will obviously give you the tutorial of being able to tap X to go up or A to go down. Personally, I almost always am going to do ZR, so I can aim exactly where I want to do that bug. It's, you know, it's aiming right where I want to go. It's going to make sure that I'm getting to where I need to be. I just find that more useful personally, but definitely just kind of practice getting that mobility down. You can hit A to do the hang part if you're trying to be like, oh, that's the way I need to go. You know, kind of look and figure out where you're going. But once you get it, you're just jumping around and flipping like I am. So the next thing I want to talk about in the field is actually the map. You'll notice in the bottom I have the map and the detailed map. And what's nice about this is you just go here, I'll type, change that. The general map, you know, it's cool to see where the monsters are. But it doesn't really help me much, you know, it doesn't tell me anything. And what's useful about doing this is by making this the detailed map, if I hold down the left trigger, I can still see that, like, oh, there's the monster, so now where they are. But this detail map will show depending on what I have popped up on the detail, on the larger map. So if I hold the minus button here to bring this up, right now, if I switch this to gathering and I go back, all of my gathering shit that I'm trying to collect is on that map. You know, if I go over to permabuffers, now it just shows permabuffers, which in my opinion, I find that to be incredibly useful. You know, as you're hunting, you can see exactly where stuff is. I really like having endemic life, or instead I'll keep gathering there, and then I'll just tap start, which will always show your endemic life by default. Just to have an idea of like, okay, you know, this is the stuff I need. And you can even take this one step further. If you're trying to farm one thing in particular, this thing's going to attack me in a second. Just get up there. If we go to our map here, and we go over all the way to icon list selection, and then we hit icon list X, we can select one particular thing. So let's say that I was trying to mine malachite. Malachite comes from mining outcrops. I'll target that. And you can kind of see how the map is only showing either the white or the blue. And if I do that, now as I'm running around, the only icons that are even on my map anymore are gonna be those white icons. So I can be like, oh, okay, you know, that is exactly what I'm trying to hunt. You know, I don't care about the blue. I only care about these white ores. What's that? I think I'm on top of it. Boulder lizard. That's new. Thank you. Oh, there's my mining outcrop. That's what I wanted. So, you know, once again, just kind of a lot of stuff that really you won't even be aware of until you're really digging down into the menu. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about here is rapid hunts and you know how you should do them. So let's say that this Kodachi is going to be my target. That's what I'm going to go for. At the start of a hunt, the new wyvern riding system is incredibly useful. Way more useful than clutch claw or anything else. And I'd almost always recommend on a hunt going after a secondary monster, mounting it, and then kicking off the fight with that monster. So we're just going to go in here. And we're going to try and get this thing while it's basically not angry. We'll get our attack. And this will almost always get you a mount, as it did right there. If you don't get the mount, one thing that we can actually do, and just to show you real fast, I'll pull up the map and take a look at it. Actually, I don't think I can while I have this guy up. I'll show you after I drop him. But over right around zone 5, there's the puppet spider. You can use the puppet spider to mount these things early on. But the reason we want to do this is getting an early mount on our secondary target. We can ride that into battle, and then we can start getting damage. So now, I know this is already poisoned, so that's already going to be some good damage there. And we're just going to get as many hits in as we can, you know, just hurting him. The biggest thing is just make sure you execute your mounted Punisher before that thing runs out. So we're just going to keep getting in attacks. I'll need probably one more in, and then we'll do the mounted Punisher. And what's great about this is it's going to force a heavy knockdown onto whatever you're hunting. And on top of that, it's always going to knock off a bunch of materials right at the start. So just good to have, you know, good stuff in general. Now, since we're not going to be able to get this thing to be in a killable state real fast, I can actually demonstrate it with the icon real fast here. Well, this will work out perfect. I can go and show you all the spider puppet. I'm taking this guy up. And the puppet spider is just really useful. I mean, almost regardless of oh man, he's going way up there. Gonna take a little bit. While you're doing your dog, you can tap the left trigger to dog dash, go really fast. But the puppet spider, as long as you hit the web, that'll allow you an instant mount, allowing you to bring another monster into the fray. But what I want to talk about in particular is the icon. So up top, we obviously have our 3 monster icons up there. Each of those we can lock on and then use that to target. You know, flip over, like have us once it's within range, it'll, you know, while we don't have a hard lock on, it'll reorient our camera. But in particular, you'll notice there's that little gray bar kind of below those monster icons, and that's what I want to bring your attention to, because that's how we know if the monster is about to die. Right now, how we see that little green icon obviously means that we're riding the monster, but that little green almost looks like a pig or a dolphin or whatever it is. In that same spot, you'll notice a small blue skull icon, and that is the exact location that I was talking about when I said if you are trying to capture something, that blue icon, that's your indicator. As soon as you see a blue icon in that area, that means the monster is almost dead, and you'll be able to safely just put down a trap and instantly drop 2 trank bombs, capture the monster. Keeps your hunts nice and clean and short. Launching one monster into another monster almost always results in a mount, like you saw right there. So get my mount on Toby, and if I was, you know, like I said, if this was our actual main hunt target, I could run him into a thing a couple times and knock him on it. But that's basically the gist of what I wanted to cover out in the field. You know, the biggest thing here being all the kind of in-depth dynamics of the map and being able to good use of your wirebug, good use of mounting and taking advantage of that for combat. Because there's a lot of little things like that they you know, I don't know. I guess a good way to describe it is it almost gets stuck in the weeds. You know, these are a lot of things that they came along with playing the game for hours. But I wish I had known them all at the start. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really want to touch on. I know it's been a fairly rambly video. I've just been kind of going off, and it looks like our dango station has updated again, which is always nice. Oh yeah, it's got full-on bunny ears now. That's a man. She is really ramping up the dango station. This is all new. This is a brand new cutscene. I'm seeing this for the first time. I don't know what he has. He just got some magical elixir there. But anyway, that is going to wrap things up for the low rank guide. Obviously, this is all low rank, so you know, no spoiler monsters or anything like that, which I probably should have said that all the way back at the start of the video, but hindsight's 2020, as they say. So before we wrap up, the last thing I want to talk about is a good starter set for low rank. Now, this is the set I've used for all of low rank. I'm still using this right now, actually. But if we go to upgrade, it's easy to just show it all off. So 3 pieces come right from Azuki. We're going to grab the Azuki helm, the Azuki chest, and the Azuki coil. That's going to give us 3 pieces of critical eye. Very soon after him, we will unlock the alloy vambraces. That gives us critical eyes in the glove slot. And then Kulu gives us stun resist and critical eye. Pulling all of this together, and we actually have a pretty decent early starter set that is composed, if I can get everything... Where's my skills? There we go. Crit I6, recovery, speed, stun, and wall runner. But the biggest thing here, obviously, being crit I6, giving us 30% affinity, which is really nice early on. Now, typically early on, it would be more beneficial to have attack. Raw attack is going to be better than crit at these lower levels. But if we go over here to search, unfortunately, if we go attack, you can see there's only 8. There's not a lot. The hunter has... We have attack here. We have attack here. The Baroth gear has some attack. The ingot has some attack. So, in some of this stuff, the ingot comes into play a little bit later. So, for early on, I would suggest going for the set. Actually, I think I just unlocked these because I did not have these before, and these are attack boost and crit eye are beautiful. So I'd probably pick up that and make a new set. But for low rank, for the purpose of just getting through low rank, you know, picking up that critical eye on that Kulu. Really easy to get that early on, and obviously, like I showed right there, you can just hit Y, search short, go to skills, and then search for something in particular, so you can hit crit eye and see every piece of gear that has access to the critical eye. You know, this waist is going to have critical eye, this waist is going to have critical eye, these are going to have critical eye. You can see all that stuff. So either way, that is going to wrap things up. The one last thing, I guess, that I should probably touch on is obviously keep in mind that in addition to everything else, we have switch skills. Switch skills are important. They completely change how certain weapons function. Do not ignore them. There's some weapons that I was kind of like lukewarm on that now I'm like, oh my god, these are great, because I love the switch skills. But that's going to be it. So I plan on doing some more in-depth guides, but I really wanted to get something out there, having just wrapped up low rank, kind of, in a sense, sharing lessons that I thought would have been helpful going into the game as you all start on your journey going into the game. But that's going to wrap things up here. I think I've rambled on for long enough. Definitely a little bit more rambly than some of my videos, but I just finished up 3 live streams of the game, and my brain's still just kind of going fast. So anyway, wrapping up here. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully this helps out a couple of y'all, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.